What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the final Friday edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric Lindquist. I decided to play after being ruled out. Then I was questionable. Then I was obviously playing because that's just kind of what happens nowadays in the NBA. We've got a 10-game slate to break down for you. Rayen Patnaik, how are you doing? Thanks for making it here too, Marcus Morris.
Sounds like someone just played charades with Paul George. Was the answer Paul George to your charades intro?
Oh, there absolutely was. That was me. I was never a game time decision over here. I was never ruled out. They let me come back to work every single day. I get to hang out with you. It's fantastic. You know what's not fantastic is injury reporting by the Los Angeles Clippers. My God. I don't know if I could dislike a team more right now.
They are been a tough team for us pretty much for a better part of a month now, dating back before the All-Star break. It's been Paul George, it's been him. And obviously we had the Marcus Morris situation, but Paul George has been the nucleus to NBA news. We, as people who play daily fantasy sports, we're slaves to news. So that can make or break your night. And we have an interesting late night hammer in Paul George tonight. A lot of things can happen with him.
How much did you get on?
I can only sprinkle in about 5 to 10%. There were a lot of good people at his position at value. We got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart, DeMar DeRozan, Bogdan Bogdanovic. A lot of guys who were in favorable matchups who were cheaper. And but the one thing it was nice to move off of Kennard and Terrence Mann and pivot onto guys a little bit earlier. I don't know what their final ownership was, but hopefully significant enough where those lineups are pretty much dead.
Yeah, I hope so because I just jammed New Orleans, so I guess I'm not as mad as what I sound. I mean, the Clippers just are so dumb. I mean, it's just so dumb, and you had to be a little bit price sensitive. I talked a little bit about that yesterday on the Slate Starter article where it was like, look, I don't really even know what this slate is going to look like, but I can guarantee you that it's going to look completely different than I'm writing the night before. And that's kind of what we've had multiple slates here. And so we at the Slate Starter Podcast, we are here trying to find a couple plays for you to guys kind of like talk the slate out, try to be able to pinpoint some guys. I think Bogdan Bogdanovic was a guy that we were both very high on, 4,200 at small forward. Absolute smash fest. Continuing to get better and better as we go here, but that's kind of the goal right now because I can't predict what the Clippers are going to do and why. It's like trying to understand. It's like a Batman villain. They don't really make a whole lot of sense. They're just going to be bad.
No, I completely agree with you, and it's tough to deal with at times. It really ruins your night, your game if you're just like it puts you in a mess, puts you in a funk, and it's tough to recover from if you're on the wrong side of it. And it feels like we've been on the wrong side of it a lot over the past few weeks. So in the comment section, please feel free to vent about the Clippers injury report. We'd love to see your vents. It's a therapy thread. You guys are not alone. We're all in this together. So
let it out.
Definitely let it all out. We want to see some nice vents in the YouTube comment section about the Clippers injury report.
Well, happy opening day to all of you as well. Go Twins, even though you completely choked and continued to make me sad right from the get-go. Oh, Minnesota sports fandom. What a life. What a life I have chosen for myself. But get to that bottom bar. Make me feel better. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Definitely hit that subscribe button, though. And the notification bell works great so that you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo is going live. Today we are sponsored by MonkeyKnifeFight.com. Go to Monkey Knife Fight. Get a $50 deposit bonus by just simply putting in Awesemo when you check out. That's a $50 first match deposit bonus. So head over there, check out all of their player prop games that they've got going for NBA. MLB just started up. Obviously, we've got 162 of those puppies coming down the pipeline. So we've got plenty of baseball. We've got everything going on over there. So go to MonkeyKnifeFight.com now. Let's get started, shall we?
Let's ride.
Yeah, 10-gamer on docket here. Going to the top end, Luka Doncic. Oh, and the Clippers aren't on this slate. So what like what a joy today shall be. Luka Doncic 10,700 up against New York. Good spot here for Luka in terms of nothing, because he continues to be disappointing all the time, and New York is super slow paced and all of that. But he is small forward eligible. I will say that is a definite positive, and it's also Luka Doncic, who can spike an upside whenever. Damian Lillard getting this Milwaukee matchup at home continues to just have these massive raw scoring point games. 33, 22, 22, 22. That looks nice. That's kind of, it's a nice palindrome. I enjoy that. But regardless, Steph Curry sitting below him at 9,700 gets this lovely Toronto matchup. We're going to talk about a lot of Raptors here going forward, I think, as Kyle Lowry is going to be out. Patrick McCaw, the huge piece that is Patrick McCaw, is going to be out. Rodney Hood, Paul Watson, Harris, those are the guys that I'm looking at right now. Jalen Harris, doesn't sound like they matter, but it's going to be a shorthanded team. So playing on the other side of that, getting to some Steph Curry, who outpaced Kyrie Irving today, which makes me sad. Go ahead and talked about this top end of point guard before I get too sad about that.
Well, we got Luka playing at the Garden. Obviously,
the Garden narrative, slowest team in the NBA.
I still will take my chances on Luka. It take much to get over the field, in my opinion. And he was absolutely sensational last time. 7-11 from 3, which is very impressive for Luka and really impressive for anyone. I have no issues if you want to pay up for him. Dame Lillard, matchup against Milwaukee, 9-9. The guy can put up 50 or 60 real life points any given night. So we can definitely take our chances on Dame Lillard. Steph Curry versus Toronto, definitely in play, especially with a 3-point bonus. And Trae Young against New Orleans, who gives up threes. So Trae Young definitely in play. It's nice to see De'Aaron Fox's salary come down below 9K now. I still think a Lakers matchup that is pretty tasty right now from any opposing teams. And I don't know if a lot of DFS players, NBA DFS players, have realized that yet. So I definitely think De'Aaron Fox makes for a fine pay up option. Taking a look at things on FanDuel, all of those guys who I mentioned on DK are definitely in play. Some have even more favorable pricing for their matchups in this thing. They're all obviously dollar per dollar cheaper where you have the roster too. It makes it a lot more favorable to pay up for these studs over there on FanDuel. Spending down over there on FanDuel, a $6,800 Ja Morant versus Minnesota is very, very nice matchup against Minnesota that does not scare anyone. Chris Paul playing his old team. Chris Paul has been so good this year. The guy has been so consistent in real life basketball and just a true point god, in my opinion, man. 7,200 still in play. The guy has been sneaky good for DFS consistent wise. I like him compared to the guys like Walker, Rozier, and Holiday in that price range. And anyone else that stands out to you if you want to spend down, if we have this New Orleans injury situation yet again, I think Bledsoe's definitely should be considered. And if White and Levine don't make an appearance, they continue to be ruled out. I think Satoransky in those minutes, I know a tough Utah matchup, but definitely should be considered in your player pool tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker went up $100 on DraftKings. Bledsoe went up $200. Neither of those would call me off if you get Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, and Zion out again. We could be looking at a slate very eerily similar to the one we just played. Kira Lewis Jr.'s at $3,700, exact same price tag. Played really well. Actually, also was closing out that game, which I thought was pretty fascinating. He was in towards the end there. And Josh Hart, 5,800. He saw the biggest bump by any means, like 100. Well, no, he didn't really. It was like $100. He was basically that tag as well. So, yeah, I like going right back to all the New Orleans guys here in this situation. We'll talk about a little bit more of them going forward here as well. But the guy that I really want to target in on is Ja Morant at 6,800 over on FanDuel specifically. Him and Chris Paul, 7,200. I like your analysis on him. Chris Paul has been sneaky good there. For whatever reason, just keeps getting his price dipped like $200. He was 7,400. Now he's 7,200. That makes no sense to me. And Ja Morant coming off his best game in a long time, if not all season, 52.9 against Utah. And now he's going to be getting Minnesota. Sign me up for that, I think. What do you think about him? Anybody else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think those are all fine options. I think our Slate starter cover boy and Fred VanVleet definitely deserves an option as long as VanVleet is as long as Kyle Lowry is out. VanVleet, 8,200, a matchup against Golden State, a team on a back-to-back. Van Vliet's going to continue to take high teen shot attempts and close to 20 shot attempts. Any given night, he can find his way to get some free throw attempts. Really like Van Vliet, even at $8,200, and definitely he's firmly in play at that FanDuel price, which we'll hop over to right now.
Absolute smash. Oh, it's almost like the way that I operate now after 3+ months. Yeah, top end of shooting guard over on FanDuel. Again, I want to make sure that it's always equal opportunity for all the sites involved. Donovan Mitchell, 8,800. Game time decision here. He's going to be questionable because of that personal, it's just a personal matter. So is he going to be able to follow protocols or do the things that he needs to get through that? We shall see. Otherwise, we kind of know the Utah guys, the same familiar dudes. I saw Joe Ingles, that foot issue isn't going to be a problem. He's going to play. We know Clarkson and Conley. You know the drill by now, what to do with Utah. And Bogdanovich played great too as well last time out. We had brought him up briefly, but had a good outing, sans Donovan Mitchell. But if he goes 8,800 against Chicago, yeah, I'll have a little bit. Devin Booker, 8,500, who just keeps playing really, really well of late. He's had a couple of ceiling games, 49.7 and 56.8, sandwiched between the dud against Atlanta, 27.1 over on FanDuel. I do like some Devin Booker against OKC, this miserable OKC team. And then CJ McCollum, 8,200 against Milwaukee. We see the usage go up. Again, I was finally on the train there. 44.6 was okay. I got to a little bit, but against Milwaukee as well, I think that's a fast enough paced matchup. I think it should be close enough in some regard. I'm not sure what that spread ends up being. I know Milwaukee will be favored, but I still like CJ McCollum, 8,200. Talk to me about the top end of shooting guard.
Yeah, I think McCollum, obviously, a team that when this year especially, we've seen Portland kind of scheme their offense for him to get going a lot of the nights and really back off the Dame pressure. And it's been really good for McCollum, a great offensive year, and pretty been very, very efficient. And he's not been playing a ton of minutes either. It's been a very solid year for McCollum, someone who I think would have been an all-star if he doesn't get injured. Looking at FanDuel, where you got a roster too, Van Vliet 7,400. How can you not love that price tag? Karis LeVert in the same range. We saw what this Brooklyn team did to the Charlotte team today. Charlotte will be on a back-to-back. I think Karis LeVert can definitely light up the Charlotte team. No questions asked. Taking a look at Devontae Graham, Malik Monk had to leave the game. Devontae Graham at 6K. There could be even more minutes played for Graham today. I know he only played, how many minutes did he end up playing today? Taking a look, he only played 20 minutes. They got waxed. I think he can play upwards of 30 minutes if this game stays close. There's no Monk. Maybe he gets some extra minutes sprinkled onto him now. I think Tyrese Halliburton, 5,600, a solid play, has been turning things around of late. He has had a couple of strong games, playing 29, 30, anywhere from high 20s to mid 30s minutes, a matchup against the Lakers. A very favorable price tag at 5,700. I know Delon Wright's in the picture, really hasn't helped the Sacramento guards, but Halliburton could definitely get going. Taking a look at things on DraftKings, some spend down options. I think Graham 6,700 seems a little bit expensive in terms of sticker shock wise, but I think if there's no Monk, we have to have some consideration in Graham. Spending down, Bogdanovich 5,700 still in play. I believe DeAndre Hunter is still going to miss a few extra more games. So Bogdanovich, still like that price tag, was very good today. And the OKC value is going to be nice. There's Ty Jerome's already been ruled out. So targeting OKC guards, if you want to, Kenrich Williams still has shooting guard eligibility. Svi Mikhailiuk is 5,200. Mikhailiuk played 36 minutes and he took 14 shot attempts. Obviously went 9 of 16. I don't expect those rebound numbers to be there, but I really like 14 shot attempts. A guy who can shoot the three at a decent level. So where you get the 3-point bonus on DraftKings, Svi is definitely a strong consideration. And Denzel Valentine, it should be in consideration. I know it was very efficient in those 29 minutes of play, but 8 of 18, 18 shot attempts, sign me up at 3,500 if Levine and White are definitely out.
Shooting guard is loaded on FanDuel tomorrow because you look down here at this bottom end too. Svi is 3,700. I don't care about a 3-point bonus. Did you not see Svi was 3,700?
FanDuel's honestly in MLB mode. Like,
they
come
are.
on, like
Desmond Bain, 3,600. If you get another absence from one, Grayson Allen, 3,700, played 32 minutes in the start for Memphis. That's just, or 3,600. Sorry, he's 3,600. That's 100 less. So that's nifty. So you have those two there. that are at 36 and 3,700 respectively. Then you have the possible nuclear New Orleans value sitting there with Josh Hart at 5,300, Nickeil Alexander-Walker 5,800. You have Marcus Smart, who just continues to play 35 minutes a game, ended up going for 42.5. I got off of him when Jaylen Brown was in there. I had talked about how I liked him, and he was probably my favorite tournament play there at shooting guard until Jaylen Brown got ruled in, and then he went off anyway, so that was very hurtful. But looking around that entire area, Dylan Brooks, 29 minutes. He's at 5,400. Tyrese Halliburton, we always like him. Evan Fournier is terrible right now. I don't know what's going on, but he's played 30 minutes back-to-back games. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do at shooting guard. It's really kind of nauseating, but thanks, FanDuel. Way to go. Good job. Good effort. Anybody else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think it's a 10-game slate. We know ownership is going to be hopefully spread out. Last time on a big slate like this, there was a lot of concentrated ownership, and it was rightfully so. It was a lot of good chalk that ended up performing well. But, man, some plays on a 10-game slate, man, there were a lot of positions on FanDuel had north of 50, 60%. And that's a lot of ownership for any slate, really. But a 10-game slate, it's really easy to pivot off of those plays and hopefully putting yourself in a position to jump those players.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of ownership on like 4 or 5 guys, I think, tomorrow is kind of what I'm looking at. Svi might be one of them, which is crazy. He might be the one I get off because Fred VanVleet, let's go. Anyway, top end of small forward, 10,700. Luka Doncic, small forward eligible. We touched on him. Chris Middleton in that same Portland matchup, Milwaukee versus Portland, 36 minutes, 8 for 18 from the field last time, 38 minutes on DraftKings. Chris Middleton, you can take shots on for his upside, but I just really don't ever like going there. So Ingram had this toe foot thing that came up out of the middle of nowhere today. He's at 8K. If you get Zion, who's going to probably be out with that thumb sprain, and you're going to probably get Lonzo out with this hip for the, 6th or 7th straight game, Brandon Ingram could be looking at getting all the offense, especially after you had all these other guys. Josh Hart played 46 minutes today. That's all I know. He played 46. Obviously, it went to overtime, but 46 minutes is a lot. So if they can get Ingram in there, 8K would be really lovely to have there. Jaylen Brown, we had talked about a second ago. And then Gordon Hayward, I do expect him to play in no issue, 7,900. They just got waxed today by Brooklyn. That's really all there is to it. I'd be curious what his ownership is going to be against Indiana. We've seen some big offensive outings against Indiana, not just Russell Westbrook, but from some other guys here. Gordon Hayward, maybe take some shots on 7,900 on DK, but otherwise, top end of this position, just kind of not too pretty. Probably going to be punting again. Talk to me about the top end, though.
Yeah, the top end is small forward. I'll start on the FanDuel side of things. Obviously, I like anyone playing Houston nowadays. Jaylen Brown, 7,700. Fine consideration. Chris Middleton, someone who I was pretty heavy on against the Lakers team. He was still pretty solid. He put up 37 fantasy points. That's on a 10-game slate. You would like that to be in like the mid 40s potentially. It's just that he just didn't get many shot attempts, and they ended up putting the Lakers away earlier. And now a matchup against Portland, you want to expect this game to stay a little bit closer. So I think Middleton makes for a fine consideration. Kyle Kuzma versus Sacramento. The Andre Drummond experience resulted in a toe injury. Kuzma's playing mid-30s minutes. I still think he's going to find a way to take high teens, 20 shot attempts, 7,200, where you get the roster to a fine consideration. Gordon Hayward, back in Indianapolis, obviously spent a lot of time there in his Butler days. A team that he was considered signing with in the offseason, but I think Gordon Hayward at 7K, where you got a roster too, I know it was very disappointing, burned a lot of people today against Brooklyn. I think we can go right back to him. Just a recency bias play on a 10-game slate. I really like the floor that Gordon Hayward can provide, and it's a slate starter show. Buddy Hield deserves a mention.
Does he though? Does he deserve a mention? Mm-hmm. Why?
Yeah.
What has he done to earn it?
He's had, I know he's a pure GVP play, but there's the upside of putting up mid-30 fantasy points and sometimes higher than 40 points at 5,800, where you have the roster two on FanDuel. I think he's a fine play. I have no issues going there. I mean, from between 5 and 6K, who really do you have interest in outside of Buddy Hield?
Bogdan Bogdanovic, who has 52 that I just looked at right now in that overtime game. He's 5,500. That's not enough against the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm pretty sure 5,500 Bogdanovich is going to be popular. I'm pretty sure I'll still click on him there. I had a lot today on FanDuel, which was awfully nice. You know who I didn't have a lot of? Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So, I mean, I can't really brag. You got to talk about how bad you are at stuff then, too. I mean, you can't play everybody. I had to play 4 Pelicans, and I went with some of the cheapies, and on DraftKings, you can play like infinity of them. So that was maybe a mistake. Keep going.
Yeah, this double overtime has been quite the tilt fest. You just can't see it through my eyes right now, but I'm very tilted at the moment. But that's neither here nor there.
I could actually, which is great because people say that you don't tilt. I know that you tilt. You just hold it together much better than I do.
It's been quite the roller coaster over the last 10 minutes in double overtime, but we shall see what ends up happening.
I don't like that.
But spending down really on a 10-game slate, it'll be popular. It's tough to spend down. If there's any rest news in Golden State, it might open up some value in guys like Kent Bazemore, but man, it's tough to spend down really. No one really stands out to me. I think Kenrich Williams at 4,400 and those minutes, definitely, I think we can definitely take our chances. If he's going to play 28 minutes, I know it's 4,400. It's not all that exciting, but there's no one really under 4K besides Patrick Williams.
Justin Jackson, too. Those two right next to each other. He randomly played 24 minutes again against Toronto. He's 3,600, so I think him and Patrick Williams, I'm definitely going to like Patrick Williams in this spot because he plays 30 minutes and he shouldn't be 3,600. What are they doing? Again, what are they doing? FanDuel. What?
Yeah. And that's just really disappointing. But I think that's really how things look over there on FanDuel. I mean, taking a look on DraftKings, a lot of the similar guys are going to be in play. I think I like Kuzma getting 7,200 over there. Buddy Hield, where you get a 3-point bonus, pretty solid option in my opinion. And Talen Horton-Tucker, 5K. I know his minutes are very, very random, but there's an upside there. A matchup against Sacramento, I think we can definitely consider him being in our player pool.
You know how much I like Talen Horton-Tucker. I can't do that with that guy. I mean, 17 and 18 minutes, the last two coming off of the one game where he played 32 and 26.75. And I mean, every time I think that it's like the Lakers need offense and they're going to bring THT in and he's going to get run, he gets 18 minutes and puts up less than 10. Like, Talen Horton-Tucker is like, I'm in a large field GPP, I'm making 150, and I would kick myself if I didn't play all chalk with just him in a lineup.
Yeah, but that's he's just one of those guys at 5K that can get you 40, right? Like in GPPs,
okay,
you're gonna have to get a little uncomfortable, I think, on a 10-game slate.
Well, that's uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I think everybody listening is uncomfortable. You know what's also uncomfortable is if you decide to get into the MLB season and you haven't taken advantage of the starting 9 promotion, I'm pretty sure that you need to be using this if you are not a member of Awesemo Plus right now. Only $9. Up until April 9th. You still have another week to be able to take advantage of this promo. So you get 9 days of Awesemo Plus. It is unbelievable how many times that ends up working out. So I'm pretty sure Rinpack just disappeared on the entire universe. I don't know what happened, but either way, we'll wait for him to get back. But make sure that you're taking advantage of that promotion because there is nothing better, absolutely nothing better than to be able to take advantage of the projections and the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool that we have over at Awesemo. All of those goodies, that's what takes you to the top of a GPP. You're going to see it repeatedly. Awesome on the 444 today on FanDuel. Ended up having a ninth inning debacle with Texas. That Texas-Kansas City game that went off. That ended up knocking him out of the 100K there, but still won 25K. And I mean, that's just like his 5,000th 25K win. And he's the number 1 player in the world for a reason. So stop guessing and start winning. As we're waiting for Rinpack to get back here, I'm going to the top end of power forward over on FanDuel. That's where we left off. Giannis Antetokounmpo sitting at 11,000. Zion Williamson is at 9,700. I don't think we're going to need to be doing that. I like Zion a lot, but even if he were to end up playing with this thumb issue, I just don't trust it against Atlanta for him to be paying off there. I mean, maybe there's a couple of chances to go there. Oh, we got him back. We got Mr. Rinpack back. How you doing, my dude? I'll wait for you.
My apologies.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
My
I was
apologies.
carrying the show. This is the Eric Lindquist show. What it should have been all along. No, that's a joke, by the way. Rinpak is you're pretty good at DFS. I don't know. We've known each other for way too long to. I think the viewers understand by now that we have a certain blend, and it works for us. At least for us, I know. Jason Tatum, 9,200 up against Houston. I'm just going through the top end of power forward. Maybe you would like to start for us.
Yeah, taking a look at the top end of power forward. I mean, we got Giannis over there in DraftKings. I think at 10-9, guy could put up 70 in a matchup against Portland that has been pretty favorable for a lot of players all year long. I love the 10-9 price tag. Probably my favorite pay up option. Obviously, I think I would be willing to find those extra $200 if you want to jam in a stud between Luka and Giannis. I would definitely consider Giannis in this matchup. Tatum 9,100 versus Boston has sneaky upside in him. And it's just that I would be willing to find those extra 1,800 to go up to Giannis on a 10-game slate. On other things, other power forwards that stand out to me, Gordon Hayward's kind of expensive over there at 7,900. I like it in GPPs. Draymond Green, someone who has an upside, especially at $6,700. I don't mind that just because he finds so many ways to fill up the stat sheet. Spending down, taking a look at some players. Patrick Williams still in play at $4,400 if he's going to play north of 30 minutes. And that's really about it. I think Pokacheski for Oklahoma City, a tough Phoenix matchup, 5K. Minutes are nice. When someone's going to play mid-30s minutes around that 5K price range, I think we should definitely have some interest in that.
Draymond Green, back to doing Draymond Green things with Steph Curry's in a lineup, 6,600. He did get kneed, I think, in the groin during that game, which is a weird thing to say because I'm not actually positive that happened, but I was watching baseball on an iPad, watching baseball on the TV, watching NBA on the iPad, going back and forth, and I thought Draymond Green went down for the count for a second, but I guess he was fine because he got up and put up, 48 fantasy points, I believe, in that outing. A tough matchup against Miami, went for 48 on FanDuel. Now he's 6,600, going to be getting Toronto, which is much more favorable. So long as Steph Curry is good to go and play on a back-to-back, I like going that direction. And Jordan Poole got hurt today, so I think I'm pretty sure that Steph Curry would be a guy to go look to. Otherwise, Andrew Wiggins went completely off against Miami too, because why not? That's just kind of the way today went for NBA, just randomness and weirdness. So there's that. Lauri Markkanen, 5,600, got reinserted into that starting lineup, played 34 minutes right off the bat, put up 30 on FanDuel. I think if he's getting the start again against Utah, that's fine, but not like the most exciting option. 2 games ago, Isaiah Roby went for 42.3. We saw that, and that was awfully nifty. So another mid-range 5K guy on FanDuel. Anybody else that really tickles your fancy? I don't know why I said that. I hate that terminology.
Yeah, taking a look at things on FanDuel side of things, like Porzingis' matchup against the Knicks, just because obviously we know the Porzingis Knicks history. I know it's $8,800. Maybe he has something to stick it into the Knicks organization.
Whoa, okay. Now that sounded more different. He had something that he wants to stick into the Knicks organization.
He has some little revenge. We know it was not the prettiest of endings between Knicks and Porzingis.
Yeah, they gave him up for a bag of potato chips.
That's so true. But I do think Christian Wood, 8K versus Boston. I do like that quite a bit. He was pretty promising, pretty productive in this matchup last time. Robert Covington, kind of too expensive, 7,500. He would need a super stock game from him. Even for him, that it would take a lot for me to consider Robert Covington. Isaiah Roby, $5,500, just because of the undermanned Oklahoma City team, the G League team that they're running out there. I think we should definitely consider him as an option. Spending down, Jaden McDaniels has been very, very good of late. Is this something that's sustainable? As a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, we should have interest, right? If he's going to play mid-30s minutes, a matchup against Memphis, right?
Yeah, he's too cheap. He's 4,600 on FanDuel. Like 36, 38, 35, 33. That's his minutes in the last 4 games. He's got, a ton of upside at that number. Playing alongside Cat isn't great. That's kind of the big knock, and that's going to affect any big where you're kind of relying on rebounds and getting some other stats to fill it up. But I like going that direction big time. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt no longer exists. Like, he's no longer with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, he's with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but he's no longer with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So pay close attention to that, kind of leading into it. But Juancho Hernan-Gomez has played 7 and 4 minutes, I believe, the last 2 games. Jared Vanderbilt has not played in the last 2 games. So, I mean, it's just the Jaden McDaniels, go out there, see what you got, and call it a day kind of show. So I really do like that call. You ready to rack this thing up?
Let's do it.
Oh, it's good to have you back. I was like, what am I going to do without Rayen Patnaik? It was not.
So my laptop just like zapped out.
Oh, did it?
It just like completely went blank, and I believe like the battery just like went completely dead, and quickly ran up and got the charger. So hopefully everything is situated and good to go.
It's situated. We're situated. I got it covered, baby. Let's go. Karl Anthony Towns, 10,100 on the top end over on DraftKings. I guess you've got Giannis above him at 10-9, so he's got center eligibility. But first true center is Cat. Then you're going to drop down to Randall, Sabonis, Williamson. Those are your guys who are power forward / center. Your next true centers, this grouping is going to be very interesting. Vooch, 9K, up against Rudy Gobert in Utah. 34 minutes, 8 for 18 from the field, 49.5. That's what happens when you don't have Zach LaVine out there to take any usage, and it'll be Nikola Vucevic there. And there have been big games up against Rudy Gobert, but it's not a guy that we're like actively trying to target by any means. And we'll see what that ownership is at 9K on a big slate like this. But got to think that Cat against Memphis is probably where most people want to go spend their money at center if they can. Christian Wood is 8,400. I like that call. We talked about him a little bit a second ago, but at the center position over on DK. And then Clint Capella, who just went nuts tonight. Just absolutely nuts, like he would against John, with no John Collins there. Another overtime game on this crazy little slate that we had tonight. But 8,100 against New Orleans, sign me up. Talk to me about the top end of center.
Yeah, top end of center. Been targeting Cat of late. The guy has been turned things around. There was a little funk he was in after he came back from the wrist injury, obviously COVID, and then pre-All-Star break. But he has been very good since the All-Star break. I've been riding Cat, and I think Cat at that price tag has the upside to be the highest scoring player. And anyone who has that upside on 10-game slate, you definitely should have interest in him. And I think he makes for a fine option. I like spending up to get him over Julius Randle. I know Randle has been very good all year long, but I just feel a tad more confident in Cat. I know Randle has been really good, so that's just a personal bias take of mine. But I can't fault you if you want to go to Julius Randle in a matchup against Dallas. Spending down, Valanciunas got extra minutes than usual. I want to say he played 32, and there was no Brandon Clark, and they missed someone else also the other night. But Brandon Clark not being there, I think, was a boost for him.
Yeah, it was Brandon Clark and Justice Winslow were the two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he was good. And a matchup against Karl Anthony Towns is favorable for Valanciunas. So I don't mind that $7,700 for him. Gobert versus Chicago. If you remember what Gobert did against Chicago on the 22nd of March, he put up 9 blocks, 21 points, and 10 rebounds. So that's a pretty good stat line.
Is that against Wendell Carter Jr. though, or it's going to be Vooch for the entire game, right?
Yeah, and Vooch is not the greatest.
Oh yeah, no, he's he could just murder him. Yeah, absolutely.
And just taking a look at things on FanDuel, 8,500 obviously is definitely play Vooch. If no LaVine, 8,800. I like that. He's going to have to carry the offensive load. Capella, 7,800 versus New Orleans. I don't expect John Collins to play. If he's going to get anywhere the type of minutes and stay out of foul trouble like he did today, he's going to be very popular. Robert Williams against Houston, someone we had to late swap off of him the other night, I think is definitely in play. It's going to be very, hopefully the ownership is a little under the field on him, but I would love to be all over Robert Williams in terms of exposure. And DeAndre Ayton deserves a shout out. And he's been playing better of late. The minutes are over 30 minutes more times than not over the last 5 or 6 games. A matchup against OKC, I think DeAndre Ayton has the upside in GPPs, but outside of that, James Wiseman and Montrezl Harrell would be the other guys who I'd definitely consider on FanDuel. Harrell, especially against Sacramento, I think they're going to have him play north of 30 minutes again.
Yep, 6,600 now against Sacramento. That seems like a fun place to go if he plays 30 plus and no Drummond. Yeah, that's going to be awfully enticing there. Covington's a little bit more playable over on DK at 6,100. We had talked about 7,500. LOL. FanDuel prices up guys to a position where you can't play them and then failed to change the prices of the guys who need it the most, other than Bogdanovich. So congratulations, you got one right out of 50. Way to go, guys. I kind of like a couple of these shots. Nerlens Noel was somebody that randomly out of the middle of nowhere I had no interest in. And then I decided to play him last time out because I believe it was... I don't know who it was I was on live before lock with, but he ended up playing 24 minutes and only put up 10.25. So don't go back that direction because I was right the first time. No, that's not what I'm getting at. But Nerlens Noel would be fine to take a couple shots on here. But it seems as though you're actually going to have some fighting for minutes with Taj Gibson, which is just so gross to say out loud because it's 2021. We should be over this. Anybody else that you want to touch base with? I guess we saw... Mo Wagner ended up starting there for them, but Robert Williams will be back. Thank God, because you've had a bad week with Wagner's, haven't you?
Trying to rub it in.
Not rubbing it in, just feeling bad for you.
That was a tough finish the other night with Franz Wagner, who was an NBA prospect, very raw, but man, he did not help his cause in his NBA draft profile in that game. But outside of that, man, rounding out the center position, Chris Boucher deserves a shout out just because Nick Nurse might want to play him more. He did have a statement saying he sees Boucher more as a 4-man than a 5. But Boucher, just someone who, if he was going to play 25 minutes, could put up 40 fantasy points in matchup against Golden State. So deserves a shout out just because it's Boucher. Definitely on a 10-game slate if you want to get a little different. I want it. No, I wouldn't blame anybody either. I'm going to have my de facto 5% and move on with my life probably. I think it's required by law that I play him 5% every slate minimum. So sure, I'll fire up a little bit. You talked me into it by just saying his name. Rinpack, any final words for the people today? It's still, you can check out our starting 9 promotion at awesemo.com/promos. Don't miss out on that. A promotion like that, you will not get a better one all year long. And stay tuned. We are going to launch a very special golf promotion Sunday, heading into Masters Week at Augusta. So
who's going to be doing tuned. Live before lock for Augusta? Oh, it's going to be me and Ben Raza. We're going to be crushing in the streets for the Masters Week. We have everybody who doesn't play golf all year long hopping on over to us.
I'm just going to drop a hint. For this Masters promo. Think BOGO. Buy one, get one. And I will. You guys have to stay tuned when we launch it on our social email platforms later this weekend. So definitely stay tuned for that Masters promotion. You don't want to miss out on that.
Yep, definitely check it out. Guys, another week in the books. Rinpack, you're the best, my dude. What a fun time this has always been for me, for you. I'm just going to speak on your behalf. Yeah, you're having fun too, even though Michigan sucks at basketball. But guys, love you guys. We'll see you guys very, very soon again for the Monday edition of the Slate Star. Catch you later.